If a young teenager comes around and she might be dressed a certain way, or she might seem a little promiscuous in your eyes, how do you view that? How does one view that, or how do other women view that? Do you view it as her being competition, or do you view it as a young adult? Something might have happened to her, or what happened to her, and if something did happen, how can I help? Welcome to the conversation. I'm Carla McKeever. I'm co-founder and CFO. And
I'm Dr. Debbie Lassiter, Executive Director and co-founder of the Convergence Resource Center. We're excited to be talking about this today.
We are excited to be talking about a subject that I don't think is often talked about. A lot of times, women view things differently, whether it's because of our social views or things, the way that we've grown up culturally.
Mm-hmm.
We might say, oh, that girl is so fast, and what is she doing? She deserved whatever happened to her.
Mm-hmm.
It's like we don't have the compassion for the victim.
Mm-hmm.
And really, it's, even though they end up being survivors, they're still victims
Mm-hmm.
at this point, especially young girls. And it came to mind to me is when there was a young girl, 13, who was killed in Detroit. And the conversation was that these certain women didn't have any compassion, didn't have any feeling about her. And the second part of that conversation was that these women viewed her as competition. They never viewed her as a teenager. They never viewed her as a young person who had been traumatized or victimized. They viewed her as an equal. But how can you be an equal when you're 13, 14? I say 13 to 16, How do you view a person of that age to be a victim, equal, when they're not even mature enough to know what that is, right?
And I venture to say, unfortunately for us as women, that carries over not only in human trafficking, but in life in general. There are cases where incest is going on and the mother is blaming the daughter. She's 12, okay? She can't come in your room at night. He's going into her room. But there have been cases even when women's boyfriend or husband or whatever is following after a 16-year-old girl, and you're mad at the girl. She's the child. And we do that to each other, and we've been doing that forever. Somehow we see each other, like you say, always as competition, never as the person who needs our help. And I don't know what we do about that. I mean, we need to do something.
Well, what I had said was that the more we talk about it, I think that the more we talk about it, the more maybe you can see the way that you're thinking. Because even though I might be thinking a certain way, when I hear others talk and when I hear other views, I'll be like, oh, well, I never thought of that. I never thought about what happened to her. I never thought about that she was victimized when she was 11 and it carried through. I never thought about why she's dressing the way she's dressing. Maybe the skirt's too short, or, she might be showing a little more cleavage than I might approve of, or anyone might approve of. Because we do kind of take a second look and wonder, why are they coming in here? Why are they coming in here dressed like that? Why are they coming in here showing off, right? Because that's how we talk. And there was a case in Portland, and it says that, 4 men were arrested because they had found this 16-year-old who had committed she was performing a sexual act. That's the bottom line. She was performing a sexual act.
Mm-hmm.
And when the police tried to talk to her, she wouldn't disclose.
Mm-hmm.
She didn't want to talk about it.
Mm-hmm.
But in 2024, she came back and she said that she had been victimized since she was like, I think she said like, since she was 13 years old.
Mm-hmm.
And I just thought about that. These men did eventually they did get time.
Mm-hmm.
They're in prison. But I just thought about that she was victimized. She was groomed since she was 13.
Mm-hmm.
How could we expect her to be any other way? But a lot of times we want our men to be the leaders in our home. And we really don't want any other opinion to change our views of that.
Mm.
We're afraid of losing that person. As you said, she's the child.
Mm-hmm.
He's an adult.
Mm-hmm.
But we're afraid of losing that. And I think that goes all the way back through your childhood,
Mm-hmm.
where not only is the child being groomed, but also you were groomed to think this way.
Whoa. That is, ooh.
Yeah, you were groomed to think this way.
Yeah.
And
Mm-hmm.
whether it's culture or whatever it is,
Mm-hmm.
it's I'm not saying that it's right or it's wrong, because we only know what we know, right? Until you know more.
Mm-hmm.
And then you can think a little bit outside of the way that you think. But a lot of times you can see that someone is treating you really nice, but they're treating this other person really bad. But because of your love for the person that is doing this,
Mm-hmm.
it's hard for you to have sympathy for the person that they're not treating right.
Is it just love, or could it even be more security? If the person is the breadwinner, you don't want the breadwinner to go away because that affects the financial aspects of the home, especially if children are involved. I think that sometimes it may play a part. Now, I'm not saying it's a good thing, because I still think that a child is a child. But now, of course, children in this day and age grow up a lot faster mentally, in their minds, and physically in their minds.
Yeah.
But when you move all the stuff out of the way, they're still children. Hard to deal with sometimes, but still children. And we, as women, can be so catty and so mean sometimes that even if the child needed help, they wouldn't come to you.
No, because maybe that child has tried to. Well, see, that's where it comes back to. You've got to be aware.
Mm-hmm.
Not only be aware of your surroundings, be aware of your children.
Mm-hmm.
When you see changes, when you see them, you see the changes.
Mm-hmm.
I think sometimes I even see young ladies, and I can almost tell when something has happened because of the way that they're acting.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't act joyous, and they were happy and joyous when I first met them.
Mm-hmm.
But now there's a shift, and it's not a shift in maturity. There's a shift in something has happened that shouldn't have happened as soon as it did.
Okay.
And I do believe that traumatizes a person.
Mm-hmm.
And it carries on where you think, and sometimes they think it's okay to come in with dress promiscuously, as we would say. But then again, I remember I used to wear little hot pants and little,
So what?
Yeah, I used to wear little short skirts. Now I don't wear anything lower than my ankles. But back then I did. So then sometimes you wonder, is it just the age that I was when we used to wear, the boots and the little short skirts? Is that any different?
I think that it's different styles, and those styles have the reactions are the same. And I think that as women, we have to check ourselves. We have got to learn, and it's gotten a lot better. Still has a long way to go. We have to learn that we are not the enemy. I'm not your enemy. You're not my enemy. Just because you may physically look in some people's eyes, better than me, that doesn't make us enemies. And so we have got to, as women, learn how not to be each other's enemies or declare war on each other before you even say a word, whether it's a child or an adult. I think that's something that we really need to take a good look at. And a woman's perspective, in a lot of cases, is not that great.
No, it's like she deserved that.
Right.
Did you see the way she came in here? You knew nothing good was going to come of that.
Yeah.
So I'm not surprised by any of it. But you should be surprised. She's 13, 14. You should be surprised. You should have taken some concern.
Well, what should we do?
Well, what should we do? We should really have more conversations on it.
I think so.
And make those that aren't aware more aware that you do need to listen to your children when they're telling you something.
Yes.
You need to let them know that you're there for them. You need to let them know that you believe in them. You need to let them know that whatever happened, if it was an assault, if it wasn't an assault, that it's not their fault.
And not even just your children, youth in general.
Yeah.
I can remember growing up, we had safe places. We had adults we could go talk to when we were mad at our parents. And they would always tell us the right thing and lead us back to our parents. But if our parents were wrong, and I didn't have that situation, but other people had situations where the parents actually had done something wrong. And the other adults would step in because the child trusted them enough to say something. And that's it. We've got to become trusted adults for youth and for each other. So we're going to get ready and close out. But just to say, that as women, we got to take up that mantle of wanting to help and not always being accusatory and not deciding before ever speaking a word to a young person that they're not worth our time.
Right.
We just got to stop doing that.
We have to stop it, and we have to let them know that help is available and that they're not alone.
Right. Exactly.
They are not alone.
Right.
Okay. So, and that's what we're all about, is letting people know that they are not alone.
They're not alone.
Right.
Well, you guys can reach out to us at crccontact@convergenceresource.org. Or if you like, you can go to our website and look at some of the past conversations. But we'd also like it if you go to the YouTube page or Facebook and make some comments about what we talked about today. We'd love to hear from you. What else, Carla?
Well, also, which I haven't mentioned lately, but make sure you like and subscribe.
Yeah.
Yes, we really want it. And share the video with some of your friends. I think some of the subjects might touch with everyone because we've all met someone, right? We all know a little something. And also make sure that you listen to Triumph Rising with Dr. Lassiter on Joy 1340 at 12:30 on Mondays.
That's right. That's right. Well, folks, thank you so much for tuning in and having this little conversation.
The Convergence Resource Center provides comprehensive support services to women rebuilding their lives after trauma, with a focused emphasis on survivors of human trafficking and justice-involved women. Convergence Resource Center supports women on their journey of healing and restoration after trauma, with a special focus on survivors of human trafficking and women impacted by the justice system. For more information about the Convergence Resource Center and how you can get involved, visit us online at www.convergenceresource.org.